everybody. It's Dr. Cindy, your host of the Positively Altered podcast. I am a chiropractic internist and nutritionist, and here we discuss all things health related, physical, spiritual, emotional, and a whole bunch of other fun things on the podcast. Today is going to be absolutely no exception. What's really interesting about today's guest is he was once told at Johns Hopkins that he would never speak again. And you're going to see in just a few minutes how that is absolutely not true. And sometimes when people give you that kind of advice, you just shouldn't take it. He's also very big on helping us rework some of the meaning behind some of the words that we think are negative that can actually help us move through our life in a positive way. So stay tuned. We're going to take a quick listen to our sponsors, and then we are going to be right back with today's guest.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? And we're back from break. Thank you for staying with us. It's so important that you listen to our sponsors. They're really, really important to us here at the Positively Altered podcast. I am way excited today to welcome my guest, and I'm going to tell you why I'm excited, because if you're not watching, you have to at least click on the video for a hot second, because he is by far my only guest with the best glasses on the entire planet. Welcome, Alan Gregerman.
Greetings. Thanks for having me on.
Oh my gosh, truly, like, I just love it. Let's see, they're turquoise, and there's a little bit of like fuchsia and red and green. Like, everybody needs fun glasses, I think.
Well, these will match anything I'm wearing, so I thought I have a lot of pairs of glasses with different colors, but I thought this sweater needs these glasses.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And I think it actually matches the whole mantra about who you are, right? Because we talk about you being one of the most original thinkers in business. So the clothing is original, the thinking is original. Like, Alan, you're just an original.
Well, trying my best.
No, I think you're killing it. Absolutely. So let's talk about what that means to be an original thinker.
Okay. Well, that's a really good question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that question before. I like to think that all of us are original thinkers, but we get stuck thinking the way either we think other people believe we should be thinking, or not kind of being our authentic self and engaging the world and then saying, what does this mean to me? So I think of, in terms of being original, is just take the time to pay attention to the world around you and step back from all the social media. I mean, not podcasts, of course, but
Never.
step back from all the social media, get off your phone for a little while, and just kind of engage the world and see what sparks you. The reality is, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, is almost all new ideas are based on someone else's thinking or something found in nature. And so being an original thinker doesn't mean we have to come up with an entirely original idea. It just means we have to pay attention and connect dots that people have never connected before.
And do you think it's only social media that gets in our way from doing that? Or have we been bad at this from the get-go? Because, when I grew up, we didn't have all of this social media.
Well, so we're not bad at it from the get-go, because think about this. As kids, we were all remarkably original and creative, okay? I like to say, but somewhere between the school bus and the world of adult work, we lost the knack, because we were told we went to school, there was one right answer to everything. We went to college, we majored in something, really a dumb move in a fast changing world. And then we went to work and we got to be really good at something. The way we rose up in organizations was to be better and better at doing the same stuff. Well, if I'm better and better at the same stuff, then I lose the knack for being open to doing new stuff. And so kind of being creative and thinking in new ways means each day I need to take a fresh look at the things all around me. And I would argue for those of your listeners who are in companies and organizations, they should go into work every day thinking about what can I do differently, because the world will be different 5 years from now. We need to morph and be different 5 years from now. Let's start today. But people don't do that because they're stuck. I also talk about the idea that we all take too much baggage with us. And baggage isn't a heavy suitcase. Baggage is all the stuff we know and believe. And that might not be the right stuff to get us moving forward, but we have to be willing to suspend some of that and take a fresh look at stuff. That's what we did as kids.
Alan, this sounds difficult.
No, come on. Well, you're just being a difficult adult there. No, so it's difficult, but it isn't, okay? And let me simply mention a really good life hack for all the folks who are listening. If they like cities, and I know you're in Chicago, but they can go to any city, simply one day just drive, put your car in a parking lot, and wander around with your eyes wide open, looking for things you haven't seen before, looking for things that might be remarkable to you, looking for new bike lanes or new restaurants or hip neighborhoods or people who are a little bit more casual than we might be. Just look around or go to a performance and say to yourself, what do they do that's remarkable? We tend to go to performance and we listen and maybe sing along, but just think about the performance as being amazing. If they like nature, take a walk in nature and pay attention to all the amazing things going on, the sights, the sounds, leaves changing, animals all around. Just do that. But we have to retrain ourselves to actually be somewhere, not get stuck on our devices or the way we think, and be open to wonder and possibility. I don't think it's that hard.
Yeah, I hear you, and I do some of that. I think it's just the reason I made the comment about being hard is because I believe we're the society that doesn't know how to be, I call that being quiet, right? Doesn't know how to be quiet in their own surroundings. It's I have a minute, so I do check Facebook. Oh, I have a minute, so I'll pick up the phone and respond to that text, right? We're filling our time with the junk instead of the quiet of what I think you're trying to encourage us to do, right? Of that noticing.
Well, so you're spot on, right? And so we have a choice when we have time. And that choice is either we get stuck in old habits or we get stuck in the rat race of the phone or everything we need to do. Or I've got to empty. It used to be I have to empty my inbox before I can leave work. Now it's I got to go through all my emails before I leave work. And I'm just asking people to stop sometimes and not get stuck in that. And all these friends and colleagues, you probably see them say, I've sworn off social media for a few weeks or a month. That's great. But the reality is they've sworn it off, but they haven't engaged the world head on. And so I'm just saying, make time for yourself to get out and engage the world and look and see all the amazing things that don't require technology to kind of unlock and discover, and then use those to think differently about what you do.
So I think you just gave me permission to leave the 40,000 unread messages in my inbox.
Oh, I would just delete them.
Right? Okay. I'm close. I do that every year because I
Okay.
figure I'm not answering you anyway.
Okay.
Right? Clearly. But I think there's a really interesting point you just made that I want everybody to pay attention to, right? And it isn't the just not doing the thing that we think is detrimental. It's taking that next step,
Right.
right? Into the space of recognizing that there's more around us that we need to pay
Oh,
attention to.
exactly. No, I think we need to be thoughtful. Whatever way we waste our time, and that's fine. We should spend some time wasting our time. Okay. But whatever way we waste our time, I believe we can be more purposeful in some of that time. And part of purposeful, remember, my whole field, I'm a innovation consultant, is how do I get companies and organizations to think in new ways? And the best way is to do a kind of a reset, and that is get out of the way you're in and engage with a world filled with ideas and possibilities. Think about it. Most of us sit in our office and the world is changing right outside our windows. And we don't even maybe we lift our head and say, oh, the weather's bad today, but we don't lift our head and say, what is going on out there? Maybe I should get out there and pay attention.
I love this. You have a book that you published called The Necessity of Strangers. And I want to pick your brain on that a little bit because I love strangers. I love to meet people and I love the concept of I might only interact with you for seconds and then we both move on. And some of those moments for me have actually been very life-changing. Why are strangers a necessity and why do we need them in our lives?
Okay, good. So think about this simple idea, and I talk about this idea a lot, and that is each day, if we're out and about, we pass 100 people who could change our lives, but we never take the time to connect. Now, I can't connect with all 100 people, but I can connect with a couple of them. Now, why are strangers important? Our friends are a lot like us. So I don't want to have a shocked face or anything like that when I say that. But the reality is we tend to gravitate to people who do roughly the same thing, live in roughly a similar neighborhood, have roughly the same level of education, have a lot of the same interests as us. That's all well and good. That reaffirms that I'm actually kind of doing cool stuff. But the reality is strangers often take us to places we've never been before. They do different things, have different perspectives. I often say you're only as remarkable as your weirdest friends. And the reason I say that is we need to surround ourselves with different kinds of people who know different things and will push us to be interested in more things than we're already interested in. Because what we're interested in has gotten us where we are today, and we need to get even further along, I think. I used to have these t-shirts when that book came out that said friends are overrated. And I'd walk through town and it would spark a lot of conversations. And people would go, you don't believe that, do you? And I'd go, no, I adore my friends, but I adore the new people I'm going to meet who are different than me because they're going to push me to think differently. I'm going to be broader and more open to ideas if I'm broader and more open to other people.
Yeah, I love that. And I actually agree with you. I'm trying, like, my head is racing of all the different people that I've met throughout my life. Some of them I don't even know their names, right? Like, it was just, again, that brief interaction and how cool some of those experiences have really, truly been. And same thing, I love sitting with my friends and I enjoy them and I trust them and, they're my peeps, right? Like, when something's going wrong, there's always the one that I
Oh,
pick up the
yeah.
phone and call, right? And I wouldn't do that to a stranger. But some of the most fun I've had is with people I don't even interact with anymore.
Oh no, friends are vital, but they're not enough. Okay. That's what I want people to think. And I want to think that everyone listening should realize that in order to keep being alive and learning and growing, we need to broaden the net of people who we're connected with. And some of the people we connect with, as you said, I'll talk with them and then I never see or think about them again, and others become our friends. So let me give you a simple example. So I'm giving a speech in downstate Illinois, and I'm staying at an old bed and breakfast. And there's a woman, and it's communal breakfast, and there's a woman sitting there, and I decide just to start talking with her. And it turns out she's in Bloomington, Illinois. She's one of the world's most renowned landscape architects, and she's designed a playground for children based on all natural material. It's intriguing to me. I talk to her. I stay connected with her. This past summer, we visit her in Copenhagen and spend a day with her as she takes us around to her parks that she's designed, and we watch children play. we also learned that the Danes have a very different idea of childhood, and because you can't be sued. And so the Danes let kids just play. And you say, well, this looks a bit dangerous. And the Danes say they'll only find it to be dangerous once. Then they'll learn their limits. Or as a parent in America, you can tell them their limits and then tell them their limits again and tell them their limits. But kids need to figure it out themselves. That's the fundamental idea of her playground. I never would have been exposed to that idea or a day with her if I hadn't at least said hello. And you don't have to be an extrovert to say hello. People are going to listen to this and go, well, he's pretty extroverted. Actually, I'm pretty introverted, but on podcasts, and because I like Cindy, I'm willing to actually be more extroverted. But left to my own devices, I'm perfectly introverted. But I realize the value of connecting with strangers.
Mm-hmm. You said something else now that really struck a chord with me in this, and it was this idea of limits, right? That we place limits. And maybe there's where some of the disconnect is. You mentioned going from creative and thoughtful as a child into this unilateral rise in the professional space of we get good at one thing. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that we put limits on people.
Well, I think we put limits on people and limits on ourselves. So think about it. We put limits on kids. We want to protect them. It's like, what is it called in America? Helicopter parents or curling parents. You need to brush the way so they slide down the ice. And so I think in other places they say, no, you're going to have to figure it out yourself, and you might as well figure it out at an early age. But again, think about limits make life easier if we don't want to push ourselves and we don't want to stretch and grow, because they say, you're fine. This is a nice box for you. Hang out in that box. And what I'm challenging everybody to think about is, you can be in a bigger playground or sandbox or box. You can do new things. You just have to be willing to push the bounds of what you're capable of doing. I believe everybody can be remarkable.
Yeah. So the box scares me unless you're really happy in it. And I don't find most people are happy in their box, right?
Oh, no. So research says 80% of people are relatively unhappy in their work or the box they're in. So why would you want to stay in that box?
I don't know. And yet I think now as a parent, I must have done something right, because I've got a daughter that flies airplanes upside down for fun. Yeah, exactly. And I've got another son that does the 14,000 foot mountains, where one false step he could plummet to his death. And I want proof of life. And I think the youngest one is in their footsteps too. So I'm hoping that their box doesn't exist based on, they're now adults, so they get to do all that stuff, whether I want them to or not. But I've never been a fan of putting those kind of limits on the kids for that exact reason. I want them to explore and grow and find their space that feels good.
Well, I think you're exactly right. Okay. So I think, you're not the typical parent. Okay. And so we want our kids to, and even if they figure out something that's safe, that's okay, but it has to be their safe. And whatever they figure out, we want them to figure out how to be the best at it and how to make a difference in that. And so I think that's what I'm challenging people to think about is, how do we find something that matters to us? And it doesn't have to be risky, but it has to be something worth doing that we want to be better at.
I agree. So that whole concept of we need strangers now, I'm in, right? I get it. And I hope everybody else gets it too. You use another word that I think is very scary to a lot of people. And it's in the title of your new book called The Wisdom of Ignorance, correct?
Oh, well, exactly.
Well, that sounds like an oxymoron, Alan.
How
are we wise and ignorant in the same title of a book?
Oh, you're so smart. I figured you'd get it. Gosh, if you don't get it, how do I expect other people? Okay, here's the deal. Think about this. If I know a lot about something, and it relates to what we've been talking about, if I know a lot about something, I can make it better. I know the ins and outs of it. I know how to tweak it. I can add a feature. I can support it in different ways. So I can make something better. If I know nothing about something, I have a chance to create a breakthrough because I look at it with fresh eyes. I imagine something different. Two friends, not in the taxi cab business, that's important to note, are on a trip to Paris and it snows. They can't find a taxi cab. One of them says, isn't there like a technology that would make it easier for us to get a ride? The other one says, oh yeah, GPS technology, or GIS, Global Information or Positioning Systems. That's the ability to find something in a geography and bring it together with something else. Uber is founded not by people who understood how to give people rides, but by people who understood technology. They were ignorant of the taxi cab business. And I can give you 1,000 examples, but we don't have time. But what I want people to think about is the world needs new ideas. It's not like all the problems in the world have been solved. In fact, some of the worst ones haven't been solved at all. So we need to take a fresh look. A fresh look is we need to be ignorant in the right way, not ignorant like stupid. And we see plenty of that around, right? People who don't want to know a better way, but ignorant in the way that challenges us to say, we can do better. I'm going to figure out a better way to do it. And I'm going to start not knowing much, but I'm going to think in new ways that matter.
You know what? I love this, Alan, because one of the things that I love to speak on is reframing the words that we use and redefining the words that we use, right? So what I was leading up to in my question is that word ignorance, I think, has a very negative connotation to it. And what I love about what you just did is you just spun that completely in an opposite direction to show us that ignorance can be curiosity, it can be growth, right? It can stimulate something that's pretty miraculous if we actually lean into the fact that we are ignorant in something. And oh my gosh, I think that's my new favorite word.
Well, thank you. No, but think about this. We should all lean into the fact that we don't know most things, okay? Let's be serious. A lot of leaders want to make it look like they've got it all under control. And a smart leader would say, I don't exactly know what we need to do, but together we'll figure it out. Let's work. This is what we're trying to accomplish. Let's figure out a better path to do it. So what I do to modify, to make people, I don't want to say make people happy, but I use the phrase enlightened ignorance. That's a different kind of ignorance. And that is that makes me say, this is a problem worth solving. I don't believe we have the answer. I'm determined to try and figure it out. And I might not know anything at the start, but I'll figure out what I need to know along the way.
So do you find, whether it's a leader in business or a leader of a family, anything that we lead in, right? Any sort of community, do you find that the majority of those people really struggle with that concept?
Oh, I think the majority of people struggle with the notion of humility, which is part of enlightened ignorance, because they don't want to look like the emperor, or whatever is the female word for empress, I don't know, has no clothes, right? Because look, we've risen to a certain rank in a company, or we're like the parent. Gosh, if we say to our kids, I have absolutely no idea. We're all traveling blind here. Let's just wing it. That's a really bad look. But let's be honest. In a world moving really fast, we're generally kind of all traveling blind. And that's a good thing, because we can recreate the world in a way better way if we're open-minded about it. But I think people struggle with that. And look, let's go back to what we were talking about. I go to school. I presumably get through 12 years, and then maybe somebody suggests, go to college. That's a really good thing. I major in, I don't know, economics, political science, whatever, computer science. And so now I have all this knowledge. So now I got to look like I'm smart. Plus, school's so expensive. Now we spend so much money. I better look like I've learned something. The reality is I should learn the limits of my knowledge and then learn how to think about how to solve problems, whatever I major in. And then I should be challenging myself with every problem to say, is there a better way to do what needs to be done? Not, let me just do more of the same.
I think it's great. Maybe we need to rewrite the college curriculum, Alan, because I'm paying a lot of money for my kids to get more of the same.
Well, so I think we should rewrite the college curriculum. And I'm actually working with a college right now to rethink what an undergraduate education should be. And with the fundamental idea that in the first year, kids figure out a problem that matters to them that they'd like to solve, and then they use their education to get smarter about how to figure it out.
Oh my gosh, how brilliant would that be? The world would be a completely different place, right?
I believe in young people.
I got one that's snowboarding and not going to class.
Let's be awesome at snowboarding, okay? Just be awesome at something you care about. Our son is a bicycle racer, okay? I do not want to see him going 50 miles an hour down a hill holding his cell phone and saying, look at me, this is an awesome hill. I just, as you were saying before, I just want him to tell us, got home safely. The race is over. I didn't get injured, okay? But if he can be awesome at that, if he can someday think about there's some modifications or ways to make my bike better, if he can think about a different way to do it, that's okay because he's invested. He loves that. We're more likely to be willing to learn and grow in something we really care about.
Yeah, I think that's true. If you don't mind, I'd love to switch topics here just for a second. And that's actually not true because I'm going to bring back exactly what you've talked about. But I think one of the things that's most difficult for people today is, besides having this attitude, it's overcoming an obstacle that seems massive, right? An adversity that comes our way that we didn't ask for, we can't control, and it shows up. And I know you had an event like that recently. And I would love, if you're willing, just to share your story a little bit and how you were able to dig deep and just say, okay, this is what was handed to me, and here's what I did about it to come out on such a great side.
Okay, well, I mean, to get to the answer is I don't feel like we have a choice. If we want to kind of be present and live in the world, we need to keep moving forward. So I think the incident you're talking about, 4.5 years ago, I'm having dinner with our 3 grown-up children. Our son, he's slower path to kind of getting to, no, but he's an adult. And I'm having dinner and we're having a lovely conversation. And then our oldest daughter says, I can't hear you. And I believe I'm talking. But no one can hear me. And then this goes on for a few minutes. And then somebody says, maybe we ought to call 911. So it turns out I have a stroke. And I had a reasonably significant stroke, though I'm really grateful for where it turned out. I lost the ability to see and speak, and I had 18 months of therapy to be able to speak again. Now, if our daughter listened to this, she'd say, now we can't shut you up. But I had 18 months in which these wonderful people, mostly women, would come to the house and pummel me with all these exercises. And for months, I couldn't utter a sound that a human could hear. And it was reasonably frustrating. And I couldn't see. I mean, I lost my driver's license. It took me 14 months of trying to get my eyes to kind of work better. And the reality is I have these really cool glasses, but without them, I couldn't even see you on the screen. So I don't know what they did at the Wilmer Eye Hospital. I have no idea, but they did something. And they enabled me to get my driver's license back because I have to admit I do enjoy driving. And I'm safe. So if any of you see me on the road, I'm okay. My license plate says Innovate. I'm not going to be a risk to you. I'm a pretty good driver. Okay. But so during the time, because there were months, I sat in a rocking chair on our porch. I listened to books on tape to keep my mind going, the part of my mind that was still working. As my brain started to correct these 2 white patches on my brain scan, I just said to myself, I'm going to speak again, and I'm going to write books again, and I'm going to get out there in the world and hopefully make a difference. I have no choice. I could either say that or woe is me. I don't want to move forward, but life is too short. So I wanted to make a difference. And so I had all this time to plan to try and make a difference again. But I have to be honest, during the first few months, I was not the happiest camper. For over a year, I wasn't allowed to walk by myself. I couldn't see, and I was on like a heavy dose of blood thinner so I wouldn't get another stroke. And so we had to make a calendar of friends and colleagues and even some customers who would come and hold my arm and walk me around the neighborhood. And they were probably going, what a pathetic guy. I used to know Alan when he was actually under control, but no. But I think the reality was it gave me a chance to think a little bit about what I wanted to accomplish in the next phase of my life. And I never for a moment thought I wouldn't recover, which is interesting because now doctors say, well, you're like the real end of the spectrum. You're like a remarkable story. I mean, now I hike cautiously and I speak and I do all kinds of things. And with these glasses, I can see. But I never imagined that I wouldn't get to a place because that was just not, it was kind of unthinkable to me that this would be my fate the rest of my life, that I would sit here. And I believe kind of my will or desire helped my brain to do as much as it was going to do. And my willingness, after I got over the frustration of all the speech therapists pummeling me, with my hour every day of say all these things, no one will hear you, or one of them said, I think a dolphin somewhere in the sea can hear you. And I would write down, and because I couldn't see in cryptic letters, not my target audience, but, so no, I think, what do they say? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so I was just doggedly determined. And so every time I now have an opportunity to speak before an audience, I'm just grateful. I mean, you'll appreciate. So if people are interested in my book, and I do love this book, The Wisdom of Ignorance, there's an audio version that I narrated. And it took like 18 hours because there's a lot of corrections for me to narrate this book. And during the process, the company doing it said, you must be exhausted. People really don't like narrating it. You probably say to yourself, why did I decide to do that? And I said to them, I would read every line of this book 100 times if I could. I can speak again. I'm just so grateful to narrate my own audiobook. It was a dream I had when I couldn't say a word.
I love the story. And you know what I think? You're living the book, Alan. I think in the ignorance of how to walk through a stroke, you found the wisdom to get on the other side of it and succeed. And there was no plan in me saying that, right? But it was the perfect story to explain exactly what you exude. And I will tell you, you have changed my life in a positive way. And I'm sure you're changing everybody else's, whether you're a stranger to them or a good friend. Alan, we have to take a commercial break to listen to our sponsors, but I hope you'll stick around because we do what's called rapid fire, which is never rapid in my world. But I want to ask you a bunch of questions just for fun and see what your answers are. You ready to hang out?
I'm delighted. Sure.
All right. Sit tight. We will be right back with Alan Gregerman. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Stop. Hit that follow button now and spread the love with Positively Altered. And we are back with my friend, Alan Gregerman. We had this amazing conversation about ignorance and how it's a good thing. And now I want to see what kind of intelligent or not so intelligent answers he has in our rapid fire. You ready, Alan?
I'll do my best.
All right, here we go. What is one place on earth you would love to see you've never been?
Oh, there's a million, but we're going to go to Japan next year. I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's fun. What do you want to see in Japan? What do you want to experience?
Well, of course, I want to eat a lot of sushi, and I want to do a lot of mountain hikes, and I wouldn't mind going to an onsen and doing like a bath, and a special bath. I think there's like a million things.
All right. Well, we might have to have you back and talk about your Japanese experience. Then I would love to learn about that. What is your biggest guilty pleasure?
Oh, gosh. I eat too many brownies. I have to be honest. I'm embarrassed. No. Okay.
Well, you know what? My son and his girlfriend make a wicked chickpea sugar-free brownie that's actually very healthy.
Oh, it sounds too healthy, but hey, have them send me the recipe. I'll try it.
Okay. I mean, at least then you can say the guilty pleasure is, a little healthier. All right. We'll see what we can do there. They won't even share the recipe with me. So I'll have to see if they can send it to you directly.
Okay.
If you had to swap your life with a cartoon character, who would you pick?
Oh, God, that's a really hard one there. Oh, I don't know. The Roadrunner. I kind of think that I see something exciting and I kind of zoom to it. Now, I hope once I get there, I stay and pay attention. But I like the notion of kind of going fast and with all abandon.
I love that. I would pick the Tasmanian devil. So I think maybe
Okay.
that's why we get along, just due to the speed, which is good. What is the weirdest skill you have that could actually be used as a superpower?
Oh, the weirdest skill I have, I've been told, is I think almost everything is awesome. And so I wander down the street with our family or friends and I go, wow, that's awesome. Do you see it? And people go, we're kind of in a hurry here. And I go, no, this is so awesome. So I think my superpower is, I guess, thinking about that things are awesome. But my other superpower, I hope, is, and we talked about it earlier with the necessity of strangers, I believe I can learn something from every other human on the planet. And that has served me really well, because I go up to people and I go, what are you doing? Or why do you do that? And then we have a long conversation. So I believe the ability to, I hope, see that everybody's awesome.
I think that's great. All right. If you were to create a new holiday, what would we celebrate?
Well, I'd like to celebrate either innovation or get out of the office day. And I'd like it to be a monthly holiday in which everybody says, oh, free day. I can wander around and do something remarkable.
You've thought about that long before this question, haven't you?
Well, I've never had that question, but gee, I tell all of our customers, just take some time to get out. So if I could make it a day, that would be super cool.
All right. Well, when I'm in charge of the world, Alan, and nobody's done that yet, but I'm still like vying for that position.
Okay, good.
I will implement that for sure. And I might even give you the month you asked for.
Okay, good. I'll vote for you. Just
okay, good. Where. I got one vote now, so that's perfect. And we said we weren't going to talk politics, but I'm going to take your vote. I am going to take that. Okay. All right. Lastly, Alan, what was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
I love the conversation with you, so you're not only well prepared, but you're a delight to talk with. So I really appreciate that. I've been on a bunch of podcasts and I can't say that the hosts are generally as delightful as you are. So know that, and I know a bit about your backstory. So I think you're particularly awesome in doing what you're doing. And yes, so I've really looked forward to being on this podcast.
Oh, well, it's been an absolute treat to have you. Alan, how do people find you? Give us the titles of all the books again. Where do we buy them? How do we listen to you? Give us all the info. Okay, good. So, they can find out about all my stuff by going to alangregerman.com, ALANGREGERMAN.com, and I'm sure it'll be in the session notes. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Don't follow me on LinkedIn. I don't need more followers, but I'd love to connect with people who are doing interesting things. And so just look for Alan Gregerman on LinkedIn. You can go to Amazon and find all my books. You don't have to buy them there. You can then go to a local bookstore that you like. My newest book, which is the one I'd love people to buy now, is called The Wisdom of Ignorance. And I offer an unconditional guarantee of satisfaction. If you buy this book and don't find it to be valuable, just send me a note. I'll be sad. I'll Venmo you the money. Oh, I love that. No, nobody's gonna do that. We're not gonna make you sad, Alan. Well, no, hey. No, we're not going to do that. You know what? Here's my theory on the book. If you read the book and you don't find something of value, and that's fair, right? That doesn't mean that somebody else won't. So then gift the book to somebody else. Oh, so I like that. Value. How about that? No, that's great. Yeah, no, that's great. And if people want a signed copy, just send me a note and I'll send them a signed copy. Yeah, that's great. I love it. All right. I'm all about that. I will tell you that my favorite thing today, Alan, was being re-inspired to just stop and take a look at what's going on around me, because I love to turn off the technology, but I'm not always super focused when I do that. And you gave me a really lovely reminder. Loved seeing you in the spectacles. I'm going to go get a pair of colored glasses now, I think, too. And just really the conversation, because I adore you. I think you're absolutely fabulous. If you want to learn more about what's going on in my world, please check me out at drsindyspeaks.com or shoot us an email at hello@drsindyspeaks.com. We'd love to hear about what's going on in your world and even some feedback on the podcast. Please make sure you like and follow. We would love for you to share today's episode with your friends and join us again on the Positively Altered podcast.